supporting
aid in Africa,
the health in Africa, health in Africa, in particular HIV. A lot of people were shocked. People who were talking to me and say, I think now we have to use condoms. I think now we have to use condoms because the act is going to no longer be going to be applied to be offered. Yes, no offer. We're going to die.
Yeah.
You see the impact?
Yeah.
So people are relaxed because of the availability of quality services to prevent complications.
Okay.
I think the SMS system can work.
Okay.
Because most people, if they don't own a smartphone, they own a small phone, chimboards.
Okay.
And an SMS system can still be used.
Okay.
To throw in a small message. I'll give you
everyone change era. Those to check the demographics and say every man mangwanani mkanya kana mabuda na asita kwa makondo SMS.
Yes. Or say magamuchiziva ere status yenyu komwedzi mutatu yapfuura kana manga musingazivi ende
yakutestiwa
something like that.
Kana magambokosera last week.
Yes.
Aisi mosha kutinda kapfa mukota kuti ndiri murume ndine ndebvu aisi mosha dzimwe nguva ndebvu.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gota Men's Issues. We are once again here today and we've got a guest who is not new to our program. He once came to our program and this is the second time, of which I believe that this is not the last time. But my name is Lawrence Manzenke, and today I am with Petros Machovo. I believe all those who follow Gota passionately, they know him. He is a midwifery nurse, he's an occupational health nurse, and he's a general nurse as well. Welcome to the program once again, Mkanya.
Thank you, Pastor Manzenke.
Yes.
It's great to be here back again.
Wonderful, wonderful. Today, I'm glad we are seeing each other face to face. The last time we had our program, we were online. Yeah. It's so good when it sounds better when you are seeing someone face to face. I'm so glad. Today we are going to look at a topic titled, why is it difficult to end STIs, or why is it difficult to deal with STIs in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa or Southern Africa? Why is it difficult to end STIs? You know, the reason why we are coming up with this topic is that some of these STIs that are so prevalent in our continent, when you get into the first world countries, you barely hear about them. Yes. For example, HIV and AIDS, in countries like Australia, they don't even talk about it. Yes. Because they've taken measures to probably stop it. So we want to look at this topic today, and I want you to help me to spread the message to the people. So my first question that I have, Petros, is what specific STIs are most prevalent, especially in Southern Africa, and why?
STIs are grouped into syndromes. All right. Yeah. For diagnostic purposes and for the purposes of effective treatment, or some of them they come concurrently. When you have one, you have the other.
All right.
It's not one at the same time.
Okay.
So when somebody comes with symptoms of, for example, urethral discharge, vaginal discharge, you don't conclude to say this is gonorrhea, this is chlamydia. Now we cluster it into a syndrome, which is called the urethral discharge syndrome for a man, and for a woman that becomes vaginal discharge syndrome.
All right.
So these syndromes are many. So we have the urethral discharge syndrome, which comes with discharge, which comes through the urethra, or you see it in the woman's vagina. But that syndrome has got many diseases in it. For example, we've got gonorrhea in the same syndrome, of chlamydia in the same syndrome. Right. We've got Trichomonas vaginalis, which is more common in females. We've also candidiasis in that same syndrome. They present with a discharge, which may vary in consistency, in color, in smell, etc. But for the purposes of diagnosis, we syndromize it. Then we have the other syndrome, which is the genital ulcer syndrome. This is now when we have genital ulcers In Shona, we call them maronda ekunengo. Alright,
Yeah.
maronda ekunengo. In genital ulcer syndrome, is composed of many diseases, like for example, we have chancroid. Chancroid is we have genital ulcers that are very painful, and they may grow bigger to the extent of you see the head of the penis nails. If you are not circumcised, you've got a foreskin, and the foreskin on top of it, it might have a big hole like this, where the head of the penis protrudes through, and it might no longer go through the normal hole. Your boss would have delayed. And here on the groins, you may have buboes. Those are swellings which can burst to have pus, ulcers, etc., which comes out through that. So the ulcers are painful. This is a genital ulcer, which is called chancroid. We have another genital ulcer syndrome, which we have syphilis. It's part of that. We also have like what they may come as, because they may also develop ulcers anyway, but they have their own category of genital warts. Yes. So the major in genital ulcer syndrome is syphilis, and we have chancroid. Yes. We also have another one, genital buboes. This can come on its own. Right. There are many of them. Then we have the other that I talked about, the genital warts. Alright. They are on their own. They look like cauliflower. When you look at it, it's like they are fungating leaf-like things that may cover the orifice of the vagina. They may be on the head of the foreskin of the penis itself. They may be on the foreskin. Some patients, they say these are not painful, but with some they are painful. It may bleed easily because they are highly supplied with blood in them, and some of them they come as a result of the HPV.
That one I know, human papilloma
virus. Yes, they come because this is the causative agent for this. So the same causative agent which causes cervical cancer can also cause genital warts. Yes. We also have others like the what do you call it, the pubic lice. When we're growing up, those ends you find somebody scratching all over the privates. These ones, they are STIs because they can be spread from one person to another through sexual contact. But these are lice that you can scratch so much when you have them. But these ones can actually be very dangerous in the sense that when you scratch, you open wounds that may be predispose you to other STIs, because you are opening a point of entry. These are the major syndromes that we find in Africa. Of course, the major one that we think is not, it is in STI, it's actually HIV.
HIV is the
it's the one of the major. But there is another one that people don't talk about, the hepatitis B. People don't talk about hepatitis B, but it can be sexually spread, even though it can be spread through other means, like blood transfusion, etc.
Because hepatitis B, I think in Western countries, they talk a lot about it. Most people, they take drugs. They use injections to those, drug abuse. So I think it's prevalent over there. But most of the ones that you've spoken about, they are not that prevalent. Tell me more about hepatitis B.
This one is spread through the virus. It's a viral condition. We have hepatitis B virus, which can spread through body fluids, including blood. So when you get blood transfusion, but here in Zimbabwe it's very rare to get it through blood transfusion because the blood is vigorously checked and screened until you get it. Those are the common way they look at it. But through blood contact, yes, you can get it. Sexually, you can get it because you exchange body fluids. But its target organ in the body is the liver. The hepat is the liver. So it targets the liver, where somebody presents with the yellowish of discoloration of the eyes, the general body debility, and when it spreads further, you may die. but unfortunately it can also spread to the unborn baby in the uterus.
Okay.
Yeah, it can also spread to the partner. But in Zimbabwe, it's not much.
All right.
Yeah, but it is a possibility that one can get it through sexual transmission.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all right. So the prevalence of all these STIs, especially in Zimbabwe and Southern Africa,
Yeah.
how do they impact the public health systems, especially in Zimbabwe or in the region? What is the impact of STIs in the public health systems?
Yeah. When we talk of public health systems, it means these are funded from the fiscus.
Yes.
From the government funds. And if you check, let's look at the raw setup. Most clinics, when you go there right now, we are not talking politics. We're talking about the reality on the ground. Yes. You don't have major drugs. Even paracetamol, you may not get it. So let alone cephalosporins. These are antibiotics that are broad spectrum antibiotics, like Keftraxone, etc., that are given to a patient when we need to manage STIs. Let's talk of benzathine penicillin. Let's talk about many other ciprofloxacin, etc., the drugs that we have. What it means is, when we have an increase in STIs, we have an increased burden on the fiscus. And also an increased problem to the community, because these people have to fork out their money to buy medicines in the nearby town, because the local clinic usually doesn't have this. We are also giving a burden to the clinicians on the ground, those who are treating these patients, because they know that I must give him or her 1, 2, 3 medicines, but there's nothing. I must diagnose using this type of systems, but there's nothing. So they will have to refer, but there is an emotional stress that people don't talk about that goes to the public health workers when they are faced with the difficulties of treating patients when they don't have medicines. So the public bears the brand of buying medicines that are expensive. The government doesn't have funds to fund for this, and the health personnel suffers emotionally because
someone comes in, they are sick, and you can't do anything about it.
Just refer.
You see. Okay. So when we look at that, how the public health system is being affected, what role are the NGOs playing in combating STIs in Africa? How beneficial are they to the people, the non-governmental organizations?
Of late, the USA President Donald Trump, he announced that America First, that policy means they are focusing more of their funds to American domestic policies than foreign policy. So what it means is, as of now, there are very few NGOs who are committing their funds to public health cause. Those who were there, yes, they are still doing, I'm not mentioned by name, though I know them, but they are still there assisting. But let's talk of their impact generally during the days before this announcement. Yes. It means most OIRs will focus on the STI like HIV programs were funded by NGOs. Without mentioning their names. One comes for diagnosis, for testing of HIV, for counseling, for screening, for enrollment into ACT, for following up, right? Everything. The nurses who is working, they were being funded by NGOs. The medicines, people were getting medicines for free, but they were being funded by the NGOs. Yes. So the NGOs had a very big impact in reducing the STIs. Like to achieve the 99 goal, it was achieved by the government of Zimbabwe, Ministry of Health, with the aid of the NGOs.
What's the 99?
It's the way we are talking about. We need to achieve a 99% reduction in the getting new infections, reduction in infection to new babies, etc. And those who are on ACT, we need to have 99% of this, 99% of this, 99% of this. In this according to the government, they are saying this has been achieved. But this is all through the NGOs, of course, working in conjunction with the government.
Okay.
Without this, we have an increase in the prices of services, an increase in the service prices of the art, of which the majority of citizens in Africa, they don't afford. Because art, it means it's a lifelong medicine which you have to take every day.
Every day.
If we talk of STIs, other STIs like the vaginal discharge syndrome, the genital ulcer syndrome, etc. When you get those medicines, if they are not subsidized, you can't afford them.
Alright.
Because they are expensive. So NGOs comes very handy in the reduction of cost, maintenance of health, awareness, etc. Yes.
Alright. So looking at the prevalence of STIs in our region.
Just to hold on there.
Okay.
The other use purpose in our NGOs is they were giving awareness to the female gender and also to the male gender to make them aware that I have to put on a condom. I am worthy not to sell my body.
Okay, I wanted to ask my next question, which is probably in line with what you are saying.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, how can community engagement improve STI prevention and treatment efforts? I remember you and me when we were in primary school, we had this drama, the HIV.
Oh yeah. I was Mr. Nyandoro.
Yes.
Yeah, acting as the guy with his family name.
So that kind of community engagement, how does it help to improve the STI prevention and treatment or efforts? You were speaking about how the NGOs do that and stuff.
So now, to join the two, the community engagement versus the NGOs. When NGOs come, they must offer services that have the input of the community, not to give a foreign idea which is not acceptable in the community. And they should be also, it should be a going concern. The community must be able to continue when the NGO is no longer there. And they must participate.
So you're saying the NGOs must teach the community how to fish, rather than to bring the fish, they must bring the rods.
Yes.
Like that.
And the community must be able to continue to participate without the NGO.
Alright.
So what it means is when the NGO is in the community or the government is in the community, they must engage the community to identify need areas. And the NGO, because they have money, they are told their needs. It's like sekuru vauya vanoda kunzwa kuti zviri kunetsa pano ndezvi imochitaura kuti no vana havanaende vana vachienda kuchikoro anditi ndimataura mubatsirwa indani that. I want to give you an example. One community they didn't know how to, they didn't want to use toilets, and this other organization came and built nice toilets. And they went, they wrote their report that we've built toilets for our community. But the community were not informed, were not engaged, and they did not use toilets. They continued to go. So you built the toilets, but you didn't engage them, so they continue using what they were using, and they leave your toilets. Open defecation. You didn't tell them the importance of using toilets. So when you engage the communities, it becomes more important and valuable because the community understands and they continue. Okay. You know, I often read war stories. Or maybe the way, if the community didn't really want to use the place toilets, they could use, they could build, what can I call them, open side black toilets where you just put the pit and then they just come and use them. At least if the West is going somewhere, but by just engaging with the community, you can actually get innovative according to what they want. You draw a plan of the building or the structure according to the cultural, religious, or whatever beliefs of the area. Community. Yes. All right. It's like during the war, the liberation movement had to engage the community, give them information on why they should be on the side of the commonwealth for the war to be won, and it happened. If they just come and say the fire, Nothing
was going to happen.
Yes.
You have to bring that excitement. So the NGOs must not act like they are coming to people that don't think.
No.
I believe that's one of the reasons why Christianity was not very much accepted when it came to Africa.
Yes.
Because some people just came with their they made us to throw away everything about our culture. It's like we were not existed before the coming of Christianity. So it faced so much resistance.
About 10 years ago, I was working for NGOs, going into the communities, doing what we're doing first. The first week, we engage the chief, the MP, the councillor, etc. to do what is called mobilization, talking to them and to understand our motive.
All right.
Then when we come to implement, it is them who bring their own people because they understand the motive. So what it means is the community engagement will work very well to reduce STIs if those who implement engage them.
Oh, wonderful. So it's very important to engage the community.
Yes.
All right. And then when we're talking about the testing of the STIs,
yes.
I once listened to another program where there is this guy who was bragging about how when he's going out with his girls, he makes them test if they're positive first. I've never seen an HIV self-testing kit, but I believe they are now there. I've never seen one. But I wanted to ask, what are the latest advancements in testing and treatment available in Africa? Testing the STIs and treatment. Do we have latest advancements like the one that I've heard about? I've never seen it, but I heard this guy bragging about it on a certain program.
Oh, that's good. A good question. For HIV, there is what is called OraPic.
Okay.
OraPic, it's a self-test, rapid test kit.
So
which you use, you open and you use a certain gadget which you rub on your gums.
Oral?
Yes. On your, you
There's
rub
something like that now?
It's in Zimbabwe.
I didn't know.
Plenty of it. You rub on your gums, you rub on your gums, you dip in a certain solution.
Just like COVID?
Yes. After about 20 minutes, you read the results. They are negative, they are positive. Okay? And then when you arrive at the clinic, there are also other provider-based testing devices like the Determine, the Cambio, the what, where we bleed you and we use the blood.
Why would you bleed me when there's OraPic out? How effective is OraPic? Is it, or what percentage rate does it the result?
The same effectiveness of using the blood.
Okay.
So the regime is like, you can start with, when you arrive at the clinic first, you can either use the OraPic or you use the blood. But when we give you an OraPic test, you can take it warm to test your partner also.
Oh, okay.
But when you see two lines, it means it's not positive, it's reactive.
Okay.
So you don't conclude positivity.
Oh,
you bring
then come for further tests.
Yes.
For
confirmatory tests, that's when we now go for 1, 2, 3 further tests to confirm
so
before we start you on act.
Two lines might mean positive.
Might mean positive.
One line certainly means negative.
It means negative.
So if I have one line Jabula, I don't need to come to you.
No. Right. Here is the gist. When you get infected with HIV, we haven't gone to other STIs yet.
Yeah.
Talk about HIV.
Yeah.
When you get infected with HIV, it takes from 10 days to 20 days to 90 up to 90 days.
Window period.
Before one can actually be tested positive using these testing devices. So what it means is, if last week you had a potentially infectious encounter with somebody or any source of infection, you come today for the test, you may test negative, but you are already infectious. Get these two things different. You are testing negative,
but you're already
infectious. And during the first few weeks or months of being infectious, you are highly infectious than when the disease is already settled in you.
Okay.
So these people who come and they test negative on the card before confirmation, like after another 3 months, it's very dangerous. You should wait until the winter period is over. Then you test again.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you spoke about the oral pick. Maybe let me just encourage men and boys out there that are scared of the needle. There's oral pick now. You can just go and get the oral pick, like as easy as it is, and then you get tested. How about the pre-exposure? Like if someone feels like they've been exposed, we have something that is like pregnancy. What do they call those pills that you can drink?
Okay, the morning after.
Morning after. We have something like a morning after for HIV. If you feel like you've been exposed, can you take a morning after?
In terms of HIV, there are 2 things. There is PrEP. There's also PrEP. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis.
So you are preparing.
When you are
not yet exposed,
you are on the high-risk groups, like commercial sex workers, like truck drivers, like those who stay away from their spouses for long periods of time, whilst they engage in sexual activities somewhere they are. They are highly, they are in the high-risk groups, like the artisanal miners, Machovo. Those people, because of their behaviors, they export, they receive it. Must, or if they want to start PrEP, they go to the nearest health center, they talk about that, they are giving PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Okay.
It's very effective.
Okay.
All right. Then, after exposure, you think, I've been infected, maybe through rape or consensual sex, but you think you may have been infected. Then you start on PEP.
Also, there's PrEP and PEP.
Yes. PEP.
PEP is post-exposure.
Yes. Post-exposure prophylaxis. We are talking of post-exposure. You take your pills, which will work. You are taking them for 28 days.
Right. It's not just one pill.
One every day for 28 days.
After the exposure.
After exposure. While it's awaiting to be retested after 3 months. Window period. Okay. Most of those who have used it, they've tested negative, so it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
But 28 days.
Yeah. It's the course of treatment.
Okay.
But so other forms of testing that are there for other STIs, they are there.
Okay.
For example, now when we are talking of pregnant women and the couple, when they go for the testing, they can be offered HIV plus syphilis test.
Okay.
On site.
Okay.
HIV plus syphilis test on site. These are rapid tests which comes out within 22 or so minutes.
Okay.
Right. But in the public domain, we don't have rapid tests for other STIs. But in the private sector, they are there. Like for example, you can have a test for gonorrhea, a test for chlamydia. Okay. A test for syphilis, obviously.
Yeah. So because as a man. I'm speaking for men mostly.
Yeah.
Is it not okay to also put rapid tests for other STIs in the public domain? Because knowing men will go for those tests when they have to. But if you put them in the public domain, they can just do their private tests and see how it goes. Why are they not putting other tests out there in the public domain, other rapid tests for other STIs?
Very noble, very correct. But I think the whole thing goes to funding that we talked about.
Okay.
But also knowing the behavior of men in particular.
Yeah.
Men don't want to go where most women go for treatment. So most public health centers are crowded with women.
And that's why I'm saying, why not give men a platform where they get the tests privately, and then they test themselves.
Or as rapid tests.
Yeah, as rapid tests.
Yes, that's the best. That's the best.
Yeah.
We should have a rapid test which they can use privately at home.
Yeah.
That one is good.
Yeah, because men, it's a struggle even when some men are sick, just to take them to hospital.
Very correct.
It's a struggle. Even medical checkups, yearly medical checkups, most men, we don't do those ones.
Yes.
Because we are fit until we die. So I believe if we get those rapid tests, probably people can just then be able to the only challenge would then be on coming out. The greatest challenge when someone would test themselves, they found out that they are positive. They would die of stress by themselves. They won't join.
You know, based on the topic that we have, on why we have problems in eradicating STIs,
yes,
because we have low risk perception.
Yeah.
We don't think we are at risk. Whilst most STIs, they are asymptomatic. They don't present with the obvious symptoms in many people.
Okay.
You can go for years.
Yeah.
Whilst you don't see many symptoms. For example, in women naturally they have a certain discharge they have, which is natural.
Okay.
But because of lack of knowledge, there is a difference between the normal and the abnormal. And somebody might keep the abnormal without knowing. And they can also may not have symptoms hidden in there. And why does they spread? So that kind of ignorance that is still with us makes us harbor infection and passing it on to the next person without knowing. And the absence of testing facilities.
All right. How about the treatments, latest advancements in STI treatment? We spoke about testing. How about treatment? Yeah,
treatments in terms of the actual non-treatments. There are great advancements. We have maintained certain injections, we have maintained certain oral medicines, creams, etc. But there is another problem in terms of those treatments. The advancements are there to counter problems. The problems are misuse of those treatments. And this has now caused resistance.
All right.
When there is resistance in the body, if you take the same medicine that you used to take to treat this condition, it will not work. So it means those who are creating treatment regimes have to come up with new regimes to kill the bug, which is now resistant
to the old medicine.
Yes. Why resistance? Because most men in particular, they don't want to go to the clinic, but they buy medicine on the shelf, they get medicine on the street from unqualified and registered people who masquerade as people who can know. And because of that, you're getting this medicine, instead of getting 3 medicines and also taking a full course, you get maybe 1.
All right.
And you get some, you pay on the street. And when you take that medicine, you will not get healed. When that STI still remains, and you will not get healed, and then you take the same medicine again, there's now resistance. So the advancement are there to counter problems. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how about stigma? You know, when you look at just HIV, the stigmatization, the names that we give HIV, Mkondombera, Shuramatongo, across a red robot, you know, we that kind of stigma. And then for other STIs, for us when we were growing up, it's time on sick. Teachers say gonorrhea is finished and this is sick the but the stigma, I wanted to ask how stigmas around these STIs affect health outcomes for affected individuals. You have an issue that needs sympathy, but no one will say, well, my family is sick. Yeah.
The good thing is, men out there, what you should know is, when you come to a health center, like you come to me, okay, I'm a clinician, everything is done in privacy. You are treated in privacy and reviewed in privacy. There's no need to fear or to be afraid of victimization, whatever. The same with HIV.
Yeah, but the stigma I'm talking about is the community stigma. We know you health workers are trained.
Yes.
How about probably there's someone who, I don't know now, but we used to have new start centers testing HIV. Someone might actually I'm embarrassed to be seen walking out of New Start Center, not whether positive or negative, but the fact that walking in and coming out. So what I want to New Start Center, even if one watch no na mainino hapa no shanda ipapo.
You are very correct.
Yes, that's kind of stigma. How does it endanger, or how does it increase or affect the health outcomes for affected individuals?
It does affect so much, in the sense that when you are afraid of going to be tested for fear of victimization, it means you will not go.
Yeah.
And you remain with the infection, whether it's STI, other STIs or HIV. And if you are started on art, you will not take your art, because actually to be seen holding on to some group like teams of medicine, where there are teams of medicine, you will not go there, you will not take the medicines. And some people, when you travel, you are started on art and you travel to a certain place, then you actually have to hide the medicine, or you have to go out of a certain group of people, maybe church, you've gone to a church crusade, so you have to go out and take your medicine in hiding, because people, you will see you taking your medicines and they will start talking about you. But somebody who is hypertensive, with hypertension, will open their own packet and they will take their pills and say, is this your pills? They will take their pills open.
Not even embarrassed and ashamed. But
embarrassment causes lack of adherence. It also causes anxiety. Anxiety on its own can cause immunosuppression.
You get more sick.
Yes, because your
immune system is.
Yes, but fortunately, one of the things that were causing stigma in the old days before major art improvements, like we now have another improvement where there used to be some medicines, I will not talk about them by name, okay, there used to be some art regimes which caused people to have a certain shape, buffalo hump shape, thin legs, etc. So people will know, this one is an art, look at the shape, okay. But now, the type of art which is you look normal, and you even look more better in terms of your body. And by then, people will have, the type of hair, like you have put some gel on it, like yes. But now it's different. People look normal, so
they actually look better.
Yes.
But I just want to look better.
It may be good living, it may be good living, general good living. So you look like everybody else. So that aspect, it reduces stigmatization, and it makes people brag around. It reduces stress. It's better. But those who are still feeling the stigma, it's a problem, and they have talked about the problems.
All right. Yeah. So I wanted to ask. You spoke about other STIs being asymptomatic.
Yes.
Even HIV, I think, is one of those that's asymptomatic. Yeah. So how does one get tested, or how do I know that I might have an STI when it's asymptomatic before it's too late?
Yeah. The first thing for HIV is to reduce the low risk perception that we have in Africa, or in Zimbabwe in particular. You feel, not me. It cannot be not me. I'm okay. Okay, so take yourself as one of those who can be infected. So the next step is to approach a testing center, get tested. With your other networks, those whom you sleep with, right? Because when you get tested on your own, your other sexual networks will remain spreading.
Okay.
Right. So then, so it's easy that way. And then with other STIs, of course, like we said, we have few testing items, kits that are available, but the syphilis is there. In private, you can also get, those are the gonorrhea, chlamydia, you go for the test and you get your results. So the most important now is to mobilize people, to make people aware, like what we are doing right now, for them to go for the testing.
Okay.
Early, the better.
The earlier, the better.
Yes.
Yeah, so many voice out there, I want you to know that get tested. It's better to know than to assume, because the one of our stress, I still think are positive yet they were negative. Anyway, I wanted to ask. I spoke to you about Australia and HIV when we started.
Yeah, sure.
And I told you that it's probably non-existent. But one of the things that they do is they which you want to move to Australia, become a permanent resident there, one of the conditions is you have to be HIV negative, which is a way to curb the spread of HIV within their country.
Yes.
Have you ever seen or have you ever studied the strategies that other regions other than Africa, other regions that have been effective in curbing HIV and AIDS or in reducing the rate of HIV and AIDS? Have you ever seen what has been effective in reducing STIs in those regions, and how can they be applied in Africa? Have you ever looked at other regions other than Africa?
Definitely, I've done so.
Yeah.
I've checked China, for example.
Okay.
Their data is saying they've used the strategy that I'm going to talk about, and they've helped them to reduce HIV to less than 1% in China for those who for sex workers in particular. Yeah. They have commercial sex workers like what we have here in Africa. They have them. Okay. Quite a lot. Yeah. But they have advocated for condom use in sex workers. And
so is the sex work industry regularized there?
I have to check, but in Germany, for example, it's regularized. They have a registered association, like in the Labor Act. They are workers, and because of that, the bottlenecks of discrimination, the issue of stigma, the issue of payments, the issue of the regularization of the industry makes them formal to the extent that they can be given normal formal education to reduce HIV, especially looking at the use of condoms, the use of how to handle their customers. If the client comes and knows this one is a registered employee, then it means we have to, the way you treat a registered employee is different from an informal somebody. You can say, I don't want a condom, I don't like it, and you can tear up the condom. But with these ones, in China, they've reduced HIV in commercial sex workers by less than 1%. Through advocacy of use of a condom. Yes, and they've also
in Zimbabwe we have that advocacy, but how different is it? Because remember when we talk about that drama, the slogan was use condoms and stick to one partner. So from primary level, I was in grade 4 when that happened. I still remember it stuck into my mind. Around
1992. 92, 91 there.
Yeah, that's now we are telling people our age now. You are not supposed to say the year. People are not supposed to know how old we are.
They have to look at us.
They have to look at us. So I wanted to say, it was a song when we were growing up. But it's probably not as effective as China. Why?
The answer is culture and religion.
All right.
Is it acceptable to our culture?
Now before you finish that answer.
Yes.
Now my next question was, how does cultural beliefs and practice influence sexual health behaviors in different communities? You know, culture now.
You know what I'm trying to say? Culture influences what you eat, how the one you are going to have sex with, and how you are going to have sex, and where, everything. So, in Africa, in particular in Zimbabwe, the way we are, you cannot advocate for the registration of commercial sex workers as employees. It means you are promoting sex workers. It's unacceptable.
Although people still go out there.
It's known that because they still thrive.
There are men who are going there. A lot of men. Some of them very respectable people. And someone was telling me that these people are very important in the society, but they are a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil. Okay. However, culture is a problem. Now, let me join the two things together. The cultural beliefs and practices. Because it's taboo for a man, the sexual behavior
becomes very awkward when other cultures are looking at that. But to us it's normal because men, it's permissible for men to have sex with many women. Do you know that? In our culture.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you know, before Christianity, we were polygamists, most of us. Now we are monogamists, but we're polygamists in pseudo polygamists. No one knows, but we are.
Yes, that's why we now have the term small house. We never used to have that.
Yes.
Culturally long back.
We had wives.
Yes.
Now we have one wife and small houses.
Concubines.
And this is the problem.
Yeah.
Because our culture, men are socialized to have other sexual partners, none other than your wife. So it's difficult now to manage STIs considering that they are asymptomatic and the like. Now the new problem is you go to this woman, it's not your wife, it's your small house, your concubine. She will tell you that you are the only one because you are paying rent, you are looking after her. But there are other men who come. And they are now used to it that they trust, the word trust, and they will trust them. You, three of you, so trust here.
4 men are trusting one woman.
You no longer use condom. If one of you is infected, it means the whole network is now infected.
Yeah.
So now, the other problem with culture is men are conditioned not to be naive. To quickly report illness. So when you are sick, you are bound to keep the STI that you have in you for a long time.
Because you are not supposed to be naive.
You are a man. You are supposed to be tough.
Yeah.
So culture is playing a very big role in reducing men seeking health services early, to be treated early and to reduce spread.
Okay.
All right. And now the other thing is, men, they also keep information to themselves. Azvitaurike nyore kuti inini ndarwara. And because of that, you approach the wrong person who will give you vana guchu. You have heard about guchu?
No, we were speaking about it yesterday in our episode. We had a traditional healer on the program speaking about guchu and stuff. Yeah.
Guchu unopiwa anakushanda, but it's not dosed. There is no proper dose. There's bound to be overdose and also wrong treatment, which may have other consequences.
I don't think Seguru Mof that we had yesterday will agree with you on that.
He must agree because that dose is what
he was saying. It's not now as regulations where they actually take their medication for proper. I think through it or something.
Why are they not publishing it open? We need to see it and agree. So we need to work together.
So guchu achina
dose unongokachirwa midzi wonzi imwa chese. Those who are doing it properly, I don't know.
Okay.
It's okay. But that's another problem. These are cultural beliefs that you are hindering progress in the treatment because men are not coming out and they take guchu and they think they are healed and yet they are not. So because they have a sense of satisfaction, they continue spreading to other people. Okay. And also, spread is high in females. Why? Do you know why? If you get infected with STI, because of our culture, are you able to tell your wife that today we are going to use condoms?
No.
Because I think I'm infected.
No.
Are you able to do that?
No, it's not possible.
If you do that, what happens?
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
So what do you do now if you feel really that I've been away for 3 days and now I see I'm having drop, and I think it's an STI that I got from Susan, right? What do you do now? You are now back home. What do you do?
You just continue.
You sleep with it. It's normal and you spread. So it means culture is playing a major role there. Because you're supposed to fulfill your men's roles to her by having sex to her.
Even when you feel like I should not do it. Because when you've gone out for days, when you come back home, she's obviously expecting you to be hungry. And sometimes you can just then, okay.
So it's another problem that we have. And now coming back to the use of condoms. in our culture, men feel use of condoms it's stupidity. And kuchira sweetened paper.
Oh yeah.
Saka and sweetened paper and naro zvakakwana, which is not proper because the condom itself it's sensitive and strong. So you feel what you want to feel, but it's because of in our head. It's in our head. You see? Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then education. We have been speaking about how we used to do those dramas growing up, and we used to see our nurses and doctors coming in with their dramas as well. What role does education play in preventing STIs, especially among our young people? Because the rate of teenage pregnancy and amateur care pregnancy is just up there. How are we relaxing now or they are no longer scared of it? Is it because like when we were growing up, you spoke about the PEM and the Kubema bonds thing that was happening, it really would make someone to be alert. What form of education needs to be done, and what role does education play in preventing STIs among young people? How can we educate them? Because in our time, if you don't listen to the education, you are going to become the lesson.
Yes.
People will visit you while you are lying on bed, you can't eat, and your hair is gone like that, there's nothing that you can do. So you become the lesson. So we had so many lessons. But nowadays, it's no longer like that. What role will education play?
Let me tell you this. When you're in Africa, medicine number 1 is prevention. Medicine number 2 is prevention. Medicine number 3 is prevention. Because if you don't prevent, we are not prepared to manage those things.
But how do we?
Let's go further into that. The strategies are to increase our presence, the visible, felt leadership in educating people, especially men, through use of the modern trends, the social media. Like now, we should come out because they are always on their phones. They should, in their phones, they must see something nice, but teaching them to prevent infection. Of course, the visual, where they come physically is still very, very relevant. But we should be more present on the social media to teach them. But however, we have a problem where today's generation, we still need to research further on what exactly should be done to teach them. As evidenced by the New Year and Christmas Eve, there was an increase in the uptake of morning after pills. Which means there was no protection. There was a report which came out officially talking about that. An increase in the uptake of morning after pills. And the other thing is, go into many marketplaces where you buy tomatoes, etc., you buy your second-hand clothes. There are a lot of single women there. Single women who are there, they have children, but the fathers of those children have dumped them. It's evidence that there are a lot of people who are engaging in unprotected, unwanted sexual activities. And after that, they've not decided to marry or to settle, and the woman is left alone. And now because she's desperate, she continues to have unprotected sex again to make a living. So the awareness should be focused on all those things, making them see the consequences. We should increase the presence.
Okay. So I'm thinking in my mind, this is me just getting weird. For our young people, because they start going to, because I don't really think nowadays they are still doing dramas, HIV and AIDS dramas like we used to do. So for our young people, what do you think would happen if we establish HIV and AIDS museums in every province, where we then probably put those old pictures of, the sick of old, when it comes, the videos for those with the consent of the people, of course, of the relatives of the people that have passed away, and probably explain to the kids why it was called Shuramatongo, what's the other name for HIV? Shuramatongo and what? And Machovo.
Yeah, mainly that was used in Shona.
Yeah. Why it was called that, and it becomes mandatory, maybe up to a certain grade, that you go for a trip to that museum, and you are going to be educated. This is me just being weird and thinking. What do you think? Or do you think that would be helpful?
It's a wonderful idea. Wonderful idea. The only problem to them is like you are teaching them about the presence of dinosaurs in the past.
Was it no longer there?
To them, they no longer see those people. They are there, but very few.
Yeah.
The presence of antiretroviral therapy is good, but it has made people confident to engage in unprotected sex with the hope that they are going to take art and still be okay anyway. Now, do you know what? When Donald Trump announced that he's going to stop supporting
aid in Africa,
health in Africa, health in Africa, in particular HIV, a lot of people were shocked. People who were talking to me and say, I think now we have to use condoms. I think now we have to use condoms because the art is going to no longer be going to be we're going to die.
Yeah.
You see the impact?
Yeah.
So people are relaxed because of the availability of quality services to prevent complications.
Okay.
They are reluctant.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You spoke about social media, putting stuff on social media. That's on HIV and AIDS.
Yes.
I wanted to ask what the other technology advancements that we have, how can they be leveraged to actually improve STI awareness and healthcare access in remote areas? Social media, Facebook, most of the ones that are in the city, they can access that easily. But for someone who is in the villages, Pasarikai, you barely find them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Maybe the network is even bad.
Yeah.
What other technological advancements can we use?
Yeah, I think
Especially to reach out to those in remote areas.
I think the SMS system can work.
Okay.
Because most people, if they don't own a smartphone, they own a small phone, chimboods.
Okay.
And an SMS system can still be used.
Okay.
To throw in a small message, I'll give you
every morning. Change era. They should take the demographics and say every man. Mangwanani mkanya kana mabuda na asita kwa makondo SMS.
Yes. Or say manga muchiziva here status yenyu mwezi mtatu yakufura kana manga musingazivi ende
yakufura just you
something like that.
Kana manga mukosera last week.
Yes. Pamakafeka kondo pamakata bonde makadzirira here. Something like
those random SMS.
Yes.
Because we can do it.
Yes.
Because let me tell you why. During the political election season,
yes,
people receive SMSs from political parties.
So many.
Left, right, and center.
Yes.
So sometimes it's not about the resources; it's about the willpower to do that. We need to take care of our communities.
Very good. And the other thing that can be done, the rural communities, we have the village. At the village level, we have the headman, right? The village, the crow head. So what can be done is those village health workers, or those nurses, or those community health workers can make routines, not to invite people to the clinics, but to go to the village. Not
even Washedza.
Yes.
There are days when they do their diets.
Yes.
And then you want to go by Mashika, not to answer days when we get
wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Ipapo padarero nisuyoyo
what uya uti muri 15 minutes
ngapa chirega kuya vakuruveka ngapa chiri ma adolescents kana ma adolescents kwapedza kudzidziswa vochibva havo kutara kudzidziswa zvadare musha.
That can be done. Okay. Yes. No. Thank you so much. I think my questions today are done. But last time when we finished our topic, after the when we were just doing the conversation, I discovered I left so many things. So if I have left anything today that is in your mind that you think is very critical, I want to give you this platform and this time and just say it out. If there is anything that you don't cover.
We have covered quite a lot. But however, what I want to highlight is, please, let's go for STI screen.
Okay.
Especially syphilis, because it's asymptomatic. It can go even for 10 years
in the system.
In the system. Kana buda karonda, hanzi pakapinda napo, ndipo pakanobuda napo.
Okay.
So ukananzwa ukakisa, ukanobuda ipapo. But the problem is akarwadza. It's a cold, so-called a shenka. So you may think kuti karonda can solve. You STI syphilis.
Okay.
And don't go for the in kind of rapora the chest. Normal lips you go for many years, but the problem with this kind of STI called syphilis is it can manifest with many body complications. Like from the head, one can have psychosis. Because of syphilis. Which is complicated over a long time without being treated. But what do we say when one is psychotic?
Akaroiwa, that's what we always say.
He has not to treat syphilis. It can complicate to heart conditions. Unogona kuzvara mwana chirema. Kana wazvara mwana chirema akaroiwa. Right. It can complicate to musculoskeletal conditions like makumbo, mabvi anongonetsa, zvinhu zvakadai. To us, we waste money and resources over a long time treating just tested. So the last word to men here out there is let's not be afraid of being tested. Let's approach health centers and be tested for syphilis and be tested for any HIV, for any other STIs, and then we comply with treatment. Topedza mshonga kwete kupiwa mshonga wana upedzi toita resistance. If we abuse medicines, we have a crisis where the common STI will not be treated easily because we would have abused medicines.
All right.
I think for now, I think that's all what our people should know.
Thank you so much, Banya. It was a pleasure to meet you. We last met in the 90s, I think. Physically.
Yeah, long back.
So it's so nice to sit down and talk about these things.
Yeah.
And I'm glad how you are advancing yourself professionally. Can you keep doing that? And Chalonga Dari Mombuya Kwamazeki. Moya Mutaura Neohana.
I would like to.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm glad I managed to you opened the door for us to come and meet you today.
Sorry, before we go out, the other platform that can be used, funerals.
Oh yeah.
I once did that.
Okay.
We had a funeral, and after burial, I asked for 5 minutes, and I talked about people must get tested for HIV, not too shy from being tested. Do you know what? When I went back home, more than 5 guys, they came to me and they said, Shaman, I've been tested and I'm positive.
Oh.
I'm now, yes, I mean it. I'm now on that.
Okay.
Yes, it works.
It works. Yes. But I just suspected to move at all.
No. When we strategize it to say most funerals must be visited by health workers and teach, it means it becomes a no.
All right.
Yes.
Was that just a little to point with a tree bomb? No, that's all right. Thank you so much for that one.
Yes. Thank you so much for the interview.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this was our program, Gota Men's Issues. And thank you so much for joining us. Keep joining us and keep sharing. Nowadays, we are no longer screening the full video on Facebook. We are now just doing it on our YouTube channel. We just get highlights on Facebook. So subscribe to our channel, LZL TV, and there is more to come. I think you are really seeing how serious and how busy we are with this program. May you continue sharing it to other people and let everyone else know. My name is Lawrence Mazenge. This is Gota Men's Issues. Have a wonderful night or day, depending on where you are. Cheers.
Haisi mosha kuti ndakabva mugota kuti ndiri murume ndine ndebvu haisi mosha dzimwe nguva ndebvu tinotwa